know Tom Holland's heartbreaking last words in Avengers Infinity War were improvised?
I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Sir, please. Please, I don't want to go.
This line was not part of the script. Tom Holland was only told to act like he didn't want to stay on Earth, but he decided to throw in that line, and it couldn't have turned out better.
Please, I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
I do not look down on niggers, kikes, wops, or greaser. Here you are all equally worthless.
On the set of Full Metal Jacket, when Stanley Kubrick couldn't find an actor that captured the desired drill sergeant style, they instead placed R Lee Ermey, who was originally a technical advisor on the crew, but he had been a real drill sergeant. He was told to just do what he would in normal boot camp, and allegedly, he made up over half of his lines in the movie, including,
Sir! Sir, what? Are you about to call me an asshole?
one of the simplest and yet most memorable ad-libs of the whole Harry Potter series comes from Tom Felton when he's met with the suspicious sight of Goyle wearing glasses. A legend has it Tom Felton actually forgot his next line. Thus, on the spur of the moment, he delivered this immortal line.
Why are you wearing glasses?
Reading.
Reading? I didn't know you could read.
In one scene of Star Wars: A New Hope, Han and Luke steal suits of stormtrooper armor. As Luke is walking out of the room, he says,
I can't see a thing in this helmet.
While working on the scene, Mark Hamill didn't know the cameras were rolling and complained to Harrison Ford. When the filmmakers saw the take, they decided to leave the line in the movie.
I can't see a thing in this helmet.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is the key of reverent quips, so it's no surprise that the actor occasionally ad-libs a line or two. In Terminator 2 Judgment Day, the former Mr. Universe did just that when he uttered the line,
I need a vacation.
Considering Arnold was essentially being paid over $21,000 per word for this film, the spur-of-the-moment line was worth its weight in gold.
I need a vacation.
Ghostbusters is a film that perfectly illustrates Murray's use of improvisation. Almost all of his lines in the original film were ad-libbed, which is quite a feat considering the sharpness of his delivery.
Hey, where these stairs go? They go up.
In Mrs. Doubtfire, when Doubtfire is fishing her teeth out of the wine, she says,
Carpe dentum. Seize the teeth.
This line was improvised by Robin Williams as a reference to Dead Poet Society, in which his character says, In Jaws, Chief Roy Schneider delivers a memorable line after encountering the terrifying massive great white shark.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
The producers of the movie were famously cheap, which is why they were filming on such a small boat in the first place. The line became commonly used on the set at any time anything went wrong. Schneider improvised the line into the scene in one take, and it fits so well that they ended up keeping it in the final film.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
So why male models?
When Ben Stiller asks a former male model why male models have been influencing history in the past few years, he gets a very detailed answer. Following the explanation, though, Stiller goes on to ask,
But why male models?
While many thought it was just part of the script to make Zoolander seem as dumb as possible, actually, Stiller had just forgotten his lines. He improvised by repeating his previous line and ended up with one of the funniest parts of the movie. You've got to give credit for not stepping out of character as well.
But why male models?
In the horror action movie They Live, Roddy Piper delivered an iconic line that has become a cult favorite. When Piper walks into a bank to confront some aliens hiding amongst humans, he says the most memorable line.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Piper later revealed that the director gave him the freedom to improvise and say whatever he wanted, and he couldn't explain the meaning behind the line. Despite its ambiguous nature, the line has been parodied numerous times since the movie's release.
Chew gum or kick ass. I'm all out of gum.
Matthew McConaughey was thrown into a scene in Dazed and Confused last minute with no lines written. So as soon as the director called action, he said,
all right. How you doing?
It was also the first on-camera scene he'd ever filmed. The inclusion of John Connery as Indiana Jones's father in The Last Crusade was a stroke of genius. When the younger Jones asks his father how he knows that his lover Elsa is a Nazi, Connery responded with the line,
"How did you know she was a Nazi? She talks in her sleep."
The line was so effective that the first take had to be cut short because the crew was laughing so hard. Jim Carrey ad-libbed a ton of the funniest lines in Dumb and Dumber. For example, he didn't originally have a line when he was leaving the hotel bar, and he improvised by looking at the framed 1969 newspaper and saying,
"That's great.
We landed on the moon!"
Tropic Thunder has many quotable lines, and one such line was improvised by Jack Black.
I fucking hate movies.
At the very end of this Stanley Kubrick classic, Dr. Strangelove, the titular wheelchair-bound character, miraculously stands up and proclaims that he can walk. This scene was entirely unscripted, added by the legendary Peter Sellers.
Monsieur! I can walk!
In Midnight Cowboy, when Dustin Hoffman is walking down the street, a real cab screeches to a halt just as the characters cross an intersection.
I'm walking here!
Hoffman never broke character despite being nearly run over, and just ad-libbed new lines before continuing with the planned scripted lines. It was so seamlessly done that they were able to keep it in the film. The famous line from Heat was completely improvised by Al Pacino on the spot. So co-star Hank Azaria's shocked reaction is genuine.
Because she got a great ass!
When filming the scene where Forrest meets Bubba in Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks decided to mimic Bubba's introduction and added this line on the spot.
My name's Forrest Gump. People call me Forrest Gump. Just took a nosedive from the ugly tree and hit every branch coming down.
The famous story narrated by Matt Damon in Saving Private Ryan was not written in the script, but instead improvised on the spot. The story, which might seem like a simple chit-chat between soldiers, was delivered with a frightening level of realism, adding to the authenticity of the film.
Picture a girl who just took a nosedive from the ugly tree and hit every branch coming down.
In the opening scene of Batman, Michael Keaton was actually supposed to say, "I am the night," or "I am vengeance." But he and director Tim Burton felt neither one worked. So, Keaton improvised the now iconic line,
What are you?
I'm Batman.
Gene Wilder was a brilliant improviser, and this moment in Blazing Saddles showed how creative he could be. When Cleveland Little discovers that the townspeople are just as racist to him, even though he's now law enforcement, Wilder consoles him with a little humor.
You gotta remember that these are just simple farmers. These are people of the land. You know, morons.
Good Will Hunting remains one of the most memorable and well-loved movies, and Robin Williams ad-libbed a ton of moments on set. One of the most iconic lines in the entire film belongs to Williams, which left Matt Damon and everyone else on the set totally shocked.
Son of a bitch. Stole my line.
In the movie Scream, the scene where Billy throws the phone at Stu and hits him in the head was improvised. The phone was supposed to slip out of Billy's hands and miss Stu, but Skeet's hands were slippery from fake blood, and the phone accidentally hit Matthew. So he improvised the now iconic line,
Fucking hit me with the phone, Dick!
Warriors, come out to play.
Anyone who's watched the cult classic Warriors knows this iconic line delivered by David Patrick Kelly. There's been some debate as to whether it's a line that David came up with on the spot or not. Director Walter Hill later revealed that he and Kelly had come up with the line beforehand.
Warriors, come out to